That simple glass of lemon water you start your day with, it could be quietly setting the stage for a cascade of problems you'd never expect. Most seniors believe this is a cornerstone of health, but they're missing a crucial piece of the puzzle. 99% of people will overlook the simple protective strategies at the end, and failing to understand this interaction is a risk you don't want to take. Acidic truths. There exists in our modern wellness culture a narrative that is both powerful and deceptively simple, that a single, easy habit can unlock a new level of health. And perhaps no habit has been more universally embraced than starting the day with a glass of warm lemon water. It's presented as a panacea, a way to alkalize the body, to kickstart metabolism, to flush out toxins, and to infuse the system with a vibrant dose of vitamin C. It feels clean, it feels proactive, and it feels intrinsically healthy. We imagine it gently waking up our internal systems, preparing us for the day ahead. And while the intention behind this ritual is pure, and while lemons themselves are undeniably a gift from nature, the story is far more nuanced, especially as our bodies mature and evolve. The belief that lemon water alkalizes the body is perhaps the most persistent myth. While lemons are metabolized into alkaline byproducts inside the body, the liquid that first enters your mouth and travels down your esophagus is, by its very nature, highly acidic. It is this initial acidic contact that we need to examine with a more discerning scientific eye. The first and most immediate point of contact is, of course, our teeth. Tooth enamel is the hardest substance in the human body, a crystalline shield designed to protect the sensitive inner layers of our teeth for a lifetime. However, it has an Achilles heel: acid. Citric acid is a potent demineralizing agent. When you bathe your teeth in it day after day, especially first thing in the morning when saliva production may be lower, you are essentially initiating a process of slow, silent erosion. This isn't something you will notice overnight or even over the course of a few months. It is a gradual, incremental process. Over time, the enamel can become thinner, weaker, and more porous. This can lead to a host of issues that become increasingly common in our senior years, from significant tooth sensitivity to hot and cold beverages, to a higher susceptibility to cavities, and even a noticeable yellowing of the teeth as the darker underlying dentin becomes more exposed. The very habit intended to promote vitality can, in a very real sense, be prematurely aging your smile. It's a classic example of where a little bit of something can be good, but a daily, concentrated ritual can create an unforeseen and undesirable consequence. Moving beyond the oral cavity, let's consider the journey of this acidic fluid down the esophagus. The esophagus is a delicate muscular tube lined with a protective mucous membrane, but it is not designed to handle the same level of acidity as the stomach. For many older adults, the lower esophageal sphincter, the muscular ring that seals the stomach off from the esophagus, can begin to lose some of its tone and efficiency. This can lead to a condition known as gastroesophageal reflux disease, or GERD, where stomach acid flows back up into the esophagus, causing that familiar and uncomfortable sensation of heartburn. Introducing a highly acidic beverage like lemon water, especially on an empty stomach, can exacerbate this condition significantly. It can irritate the sensitive esophageal lining, worsening existing inflammation and potentially contributing to a cycle of discomfort. What begins as a quest for better digestion can paradoxically trigger or intensify one of the most common digestive complaints. It's not that the lemon water is bad, but its acidic nature can be a significant trigger for individuals with a predisposition to acid reflux, a group that grows larger with each passing decade. Furthermore, we need to address the impact on the stomach itself. The stomach is an incredible organ, an acidic powerhouse designed to break down food and neutralize harmful pathogens. It maintains a highly acidic environment with a pH between 1.5 and 3.5. While the acid from a glass of lemon water is a mere drop in the ocean compared to the hydrochloric acid the stomach produces, the timing and context matter immensely. For some individuals, particularly those with a history of gastritis, inflammation of the stomach lining, or peptic ulcers, introducing more acid into an already sensitive environment can be like fanning a flame. It can increase irritation and discomfort, leading to feelings of gnawing pain, bloating, and nausea. Again, the body's internal landscape is not a uniform terrain. It is unique to each individual. As we age, the integrity of our gastric lining can change, our digestive secretions can fluctuate, and our resilience to certain foods and beverages can shift. What was once tolerated without a second thought may now require more careful consideration. This isn't about fear. It's about listening to the body's feedback and understanding that our internal chemistry is a dynamic and evolving process that deserves our respect and attention. True health wisdom is not found in dogma, but in this kind of personalized, observant approach. Medicinal mismatch. As we navigate our health journeys, particularly in our senior years, many of us rely on modern medicine to help manage chronic conditions and maintain our quality of life. These medications are powerful tools, but they are also precise chemical compounds that interact with our body's intricate systems in very specific ways. Where we can run into profound trouble is at the intersection of pharmacology and nutrition, the plate and the pill bottle. We often think of food as medicine, but we must also understand that food can, in certain circumstances, act as a disruptor of medicine. This is not about good foods or bad foods, but about specific bioactive compounds found in even the healthiest of foods that can interfere with how a drug is absorbed, metabolized, or excreted. These interactions can be subtle, yet they can render a medication less effective or far more dangerously amplify its effects to toxic levels. This is a critical area of awareness for seniors who are more likely to be on one or more long-term medications and whose bodies may have a reduced margin of error for such fluctuations. One of the most classic and well-documented examples of this is the interaction between grapefruit and a class of medications known as statins, which are commonly prescribed to manage high cholesterol. Grapefruit and its juice contain compounds called furanocoumarins. These bioactives inhibit a crucial enzyme in our gut and liver called CYP3A4. This enzyme is responsible for metabolizing and breaking down a huge percentage of common medications, including many statins. When you consume grapefruit, you are essentially pressing the pause button on this enzyme. The result is that the statin medication is not broken down as it normally would be. Instead, much higher levels of the active drug are absorbed into the bloodstream. You might be taking your prescribed dose, but your body is experiencing the effects of a much larger one. This can significantly increase the risk of side effects, the most concerning of which is muscle damage, a condition called rhabdomyolysis, which can lead to severe pain, weakness, and even kidney failure. This interaction isn't limited to statins. It affects a wide range of other drugs, including certain blood pressure medications, anti-anxiety drugs, and immunosuppressants. It's a silent, hidden danger lurking in a seemingly healthy fruit. Another crucial interaction for seniors to be aware of involves foods rich in vitamin K and the blood-thinning medication warfarin. Warfarin works by inhibiting the action of vitamin K, which is essential for the formation of blood clots. The goal of the medication is to find a delicate balance, to thin the blood enough to prevent dangerous clots, like those that can cause a stroke, but not so much that it leads to uncontrolled bleeding. This balance can be thrown into disarray by significant changes in the dietary intake of vitamin K. Foods that are incredibly healthy in their own right, such as spinach, kale, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts, are packed with this vitamin. If a person on warfarin suddenly decides to start drinking large green smoothies every morning or eating big kale salads for lunch after having previously consumed very few leafy greens, the sudden influx of vitamin K can overwhelm the medication's effect. This can essentially cancel out the benefits of the drug, making the blood more prone to clotting and increasing the risk of the very event the medication was prescribed to prevent. Consistency is key here. It's not that these foods must be avoided, but that their consumption should be stable and predictable, allowing a doctor to prescribe a consistent dose of the medication that is appropriate for the individual's regular diet. The interaction doesn't stop there. Even something as seemingly benign as dairy products can pose a problem with certain types of medications, particularly some antibiotics like tetracyclines and fluoroquinolones. The calcium in milk, cheese, and yogurt can bind to these antibiotics in the stomach and small intestine, a process known as chelation. This binding forms an insoluble complex that the body cannot absorb. The result is that the antibiotic passes through the digestive system without ever reaching the bloodstream in sufficient concentrations to fight the targeted infection. You are taking the pill, but you're not getting its intended benefit, which can lead to the infection worsening or becoming resistant to treatment. This is why you will often see instructions to take such medications an hour before or a couple of hours after meals containing dairy. Similarly, high fiber foods, while essential for digestive health, can sometimes slow the absorption of certain medications like the heart drug digoxin or the antidepressant amitriptyline, potentially reducing their effectiveness. These are not intuitive connections, and they highlight the profound need for a careful and open dialogue with one's doctor and pharmacist about not just which medications you take, but also about your diet and lifestyle. True healthcare is a partnership, and that includes being fully transparent about the foods we choose to put on our plates every single day. Synergistic sabotage. Beyond the interaction of single foods with our biology or our medications, we must also consider the profound effects of food combinations. The human body is a masterful symphony of biochemical reactions, and the foods we eat are the notes of that symphony. When certain notes are played together, they can create a beautiful harmony. But when other notes are combined, they can create a jarring and disruptive dissonance that echoes throughout our entire system, creating a state of metabolic stress. This is not about folklore or old wives' tales. This is about understanding how different macronutrients and bioactive compounds are processed by the body and the demands they place on our digestive and metabolic machinery. Certain combinations can overwhelm our systems, creating a traffic jam in our metabolic pathways that can lead to inflammation, fat storage, and a general disruption of our body's carefully calibrated equilibrium. This becomes particularly relevant as we age, as our metabolic flexibility, the body's ability to efficiently switch between burning carbohydrates and fats for fuel, naturally begins to decline. The most problematic and pervasive combination in the modern diet is arguably the pairing of highly refined carbohydrates and high levels of saturated or unhealthy fats. Think of a donut, a side of French fries with a sugary soda, a piece of pizza, or a creamy sweet dessert. When you consume a large load of refined sugar or starch, your blood sugar spikes dramatically, prompting the pancreas to release a surge of insulin to shuttle that glucose out of the blood and into your cells. At the same time, when you consume a large amount of fat, that fat is packaged into particles and released into the bloodstream. The presence of high levels of insulin essentially sends a loud signal to the body to stop burning fat for energy and start storing it. You are simultaneously flooding your system with a quick burning fuel, sugar, while telling it to store the long burning fuel, fat. This creates a metabolic gridlock. The body is overwhelmed with calories and is in a state of high alert, promoting fat storage and increasing the production of inflammatory molecules. Over time, a consistent diet of these combinations can desensitize our cells to insulin, paving the way for insulin resistance, which is a major driver of chronic diseases like type 2 diabetes, fatty liver disease, and cardiovascular disease. Another form of synergistic sabotage involves the combination of foods that place competing demands on the digestive system. For instance, combining a very high protein food like a large steak with a heavy, dense starch like a large baked potato can be challenging for some individuals to digest efficiently. Protein digestion begins in the stomach, requiring a highly acidic environment to activate the enzyme pepsin. Starch digestion, on the other hand, begins in the mouth with the enzyme amylase and continues in the small intestine, which is an alkaline environment. While the body is certainly equipped to handle mixed meals for those with compromised digestive function, a common issue in later life due to decreased production of stomach acid and digestive enzymes, such heavy competing combinations can lead to a feeling of sluggishness, bloating, gas, and incomplete digestion. Food can end up sitting in the digestive tract for longer than it should, potentially leading to fermentation and gut microbiome imbalances. This is less about a deadly combination in the acute sense and more about a combination that over time can chronically stress the digestive system and prevent the optimal absorption of nutrients. Finally, we must touch upon the combination of nutritious whole foods with ultra-processed food-like substances. It can be tempting to think that adding a healthy component to an unhealthy meal somehow balances the scales. We might have a side salad with our fast food burger or add some fruit to our highly sugared breakfast cereal. While adding nutrients is always a positive step, it doesn't negate the harm that can be done by the ultra-processed components. These products are often engineered to contain a cocktail of refined flours, industrial seed oils, high fructose corn syrup, and artificial additives that are fundamentally foreign to our evolutionary biology. These ingredients can directly damage the gut lining, leading to increased intestinal permeability or leaky gut. They can trigger a low-grade systemic inflammatory response that becomes the fertile ground for nearly every chronic disease of aging. So while the antioxidants in the salad are beneficial, they are also being sent into battle against an overwhelming inflammatory onslaught triggered by the rest of the meal. You are asking your body's defense systems to fight a fire with one hand while you are adding fuel to it with the other. The truly synergistic and harmonious approach is to build meals around whole, unprocessed foods that work with our biology, not against it, allowing the body's natural intelligence to operate without constant disruption. The architecture of our health is not built on a single habit, nor is it demolished by a single mistake. It is the cumulative effect of the small, seemingly insignificant choices we make every day. Understanding that even a healthy food can have a dark side in the wrong context, or that certain combinations can work against our body's natural harmony, is not a cause for fear. It is a source of immense power. This knowledge transforms you from a passive recipient of dietary rules into an active, informed architect of your own well-being. It is about moving beyond simplistic labels of good and bad and into a deeper, more nuanced relationship with food, one that honors the magnificent complexity of your own body. For me, learning about the silent risk of grapefruit with common medications was a true wake-up call. It's information that should be on the front page. Which of these hidden dangers surprised you the most?